It's often said that the truth is stranger than fiction, but sometimes fiction gives us the freedom to explore ideas that are better off on paper than in reality. For instance, The Last of Us was a recent HBO release set in a post-pandemic world after the outbreak of a zombie fungus known as Cordyceps. While we have all lived through the COVID-19 pandemic, the Cordyceps fungus turns out to be a real fungus used in herbal medicine that was reimagined as a life-threatening virus in the mega-hit series. And today we will get into the science behind the Cordyceps infection in detail and explore why humans are safe from it in real life. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The real zombie fungus, Cordyceps and Ophiocordyceps. For starters, Cordyceps is a fungus typically used in Chinese herbal medicine and therapeutic treatment, and it appears harmless to humans. However, it does pose a threat to a wide variety of insects, especially ants. Cordyceps can slowly infect ants by controlling its mind to an extent where the ant will be drawn to a humid climate suitable for the infection to spread further. To put it in more scientific terms, the fungus kills the ant's neuron, hijacks their brain, and then starts destroying the nutrients in their body. In no time, the ant migrates to an environment suitable for the fungi to flourish, after which it paralyzes the creature's jaws. This enables the Cordyceps fungus to spread around the body and develop spores that can spread the infection to the rest of the ant. While the ant still lives, its mind is trapped by the fungus and is essentially a prisoner trapped in its physical being. It is evident that the writer sought inspiration from the fungus's behavior to model the zombies on the show, who often appear as half-dead creatures with fungi bursting from their bodies. These fungal parasites soon start taking control over the zombies in the same way that the Cordyceps control its host ant bodies. The show's writers reveal that they were inspired to explore this fungus after watching a BBC Planet Earth documentary, wherein an ant is infected with this fungus and then compelled to climb above a tree. The fungus also creates a ton of spores within the ant's body, which infects anybody who comes in contact with it and essentially kickstarts an epidemic. While this infection is commonly known as Cordyceps, recent research in genetic studies has identified this fungus as a part of the Ophiocordyceps fungus group, known for its parasitic properties towards insects. To this date, over 100 Ophiocordyceps species have been identified, and they typically target a range of insects such as butterflies, ants, moths, and beetles. About 35 of these species can alter the minds of these insects, but researchers have estimated that over 600 species are yet to be identified. Why Cordyceps can't infect humans? Tom Chiller from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has highlighted that the idea of such a fungus infecting humans is far-fetched. To begin with, the lower body temperature of insects make them easier victims, and even then, it must have taken about millions of years for the fungus to develop in a way that it can infect an ant. By that logic, it would at least take 1,000,000 years for the Ophiocordyceps infection to attack the human immune system. Fungi also cannot be transmitted so easily from one human to another, and our naturally high internal temperatures make it tricky to carry such fungi. Since humans cannot be infected with it, researchers have discovered medicinal uses for Cordyceps infection, and it is used in health supplements in Chinese herbal medicine. It can supposedly fight cancer cells, shrink tumors, enhance kidney function, and improve one's stamina and strength. Researchers have discovered that some fungi can certainly cause hallucination, but these cases are extremely rare among human beings. Moreover, only 200 out of the 150,000 species of discovered fungi can do any actual harm to humans, and the Cordyceps is not among these. Charissa de Becker, a biology professor from the Netherlands, has also talked about how the Cordyceps are specific to species, and they cannot even infect any other creatures except the ones that they are wired to attack. All things considered, it's safe to say that they can't get to humans or infect us in any way. What the show got right and what it exaggerated. The Last of Us follows a mutated Cordyceps variant, which starts infecting humans and causes them to lose control of their function. While it's typically known as the zombie ant fungus, the show's premise establishes that the fungi have mutated to start attacking humans, which is highly improbable in the real world. In this way, the show has exaggerated the impact of a Cordyceps fungus on humans, especially since this fungi is so specific to species that a Cordyceps that infects one particular species of ants is harmless to another species. There are also innumerable fungal and mold species in nature, and most of them do not do any harm to humans, including Cordyceps. The show exaggerates what happens to the human body after coming in contact with Cordyceps, since humans are constantly inhaling thousands of fungal spores in nature. These fungal species are incapable of harming the human body due to our immune system and high body temperatures. Since most fungal species cannot survive in temperatures above 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, human beings' inherent high body temperature is not a suitable environment for them. Some mycologists have also suggested that humans evolved to have a high temperature to keep themselves safe from such threats. In some cases, infections such as mpox that threaten animal lives have eventually become a concern for humans. But this is not typical of most species, and Cordyceps remain harmless to humans. For the sake of fiction, the mutated Cordyceps in The Last of Us spread to human bodies through a food supply chain in a similar way that we get norovirus or salmonella. However, doctors believe that this is unlikely in the real world, and fungus cannot cause such significant problems in the human body through ingestion. Until recently, there have been no examples of fungi infections spreading from person to person, and in the scenario where we consume fungus, our bodies are likely to kill it off due to the low pH in our stomachs. However, the recently emerging Candida auris fungus has been determined to cause various illnesses, ranging from bloodstream infections and wound infections to respiratory tract infections and urine infections. It's also a multi-drug resistant infection that spreads at the speed of light among patients in healthcare units through contaminated surfaces or medical equipment. While Candida auris mirrors the mutated Cordyceps threat in The Last of Us, we can be assured that the Cordyceps infection is still one of those fungus that cannot threaten human health in the real world. However, the show does have some ambitious scientific statements that set a pressing narrative for humans and raise concerns related to global warming, pandemics, and adaptations of pathogens. The show also highlights the fact that humans have managed to emerge victorious in wars against viruses and bacteria, but this would be a highly improbable outcome when it comes to fungal infections caused by climate change. The show might exaggerate some details of the infection, but it sends a message by painting a terrifying post-apocalyptic picture if we continue to ignore global warming. Fungi and climate change. Is there a real threat? While climate change cannot bring about a zombie apocalypse level of threat, global warming continues to pose a threat to humankind. Several researchers have discovered that pandemics triggered by infectious diseases continue to get more and more likely as habits blend together and animals come in contact with species they have never interacted with before. As the gap between humans and nature shrinks, we can expect many more deadly infections with rising global temperature. A recent study conducted by scientists revealed that increasing the temperature of a fungus can enable the pathogen to adapt to genetic changes, which means that more and more pathological fungi can adapt to higher temperatures. Dr. Lan Schwartz from Duke University has talked about the link between global warming and the increased thermal tolerance of fungi, which is currently happening at a slow rate. Matthew Fisher, a professor of fungal diseases epidemiology, has also stressed that global warming and the melting of icebergs will create a warmer, wetter world where humanity will be exposed to more fungi than before. In fact, we are already seeing this with the increasing threat of Candida auris infection, which was first detected in 2009 and has now made its way to more than 50 countries. The warming, cooling, or temperature changes on the planet will have an impact on fungi, which constantly keep adapting and evolving. Candida auris has already appeared worldwide and is living proof that fungal species have started adapting to higher global and human bodily temperature. It has been classified as a priority pathogen by the World Health Organization, along with the Aspergillus fumigatus organism. And, it's a matter of time before our antifungal treatments fail to limit their impact. Candida auris is also the first case of a fungus spreading from person to person, and while it's not a big threat to healthy individuals, it can be deadly to people who are immunocompromised. So recently, a fungal white nose syndrome has started impacting hibernating bats in the US, and it's only a matter of time before such infections move to humans. Researchers have developed antifungal therapeutic interventions, but species such as Candida auris and Trichophyton indotinae have shown resistance to such treatment. Moreover, fungal diseases are difficult to treat since fungi are made up of eukaryotic cells, just like humans, and it is challenging to design a treatment that targets the fungus without harming the human. Such fungi are also more likely to impact people with weakened immune systems to a point where humanity might be endangered in a warmer world. Healthcare settings are also not prepared to deal with large fungal outbreaks, and we can only hope to better antifungal drugs to nip this problem in the bud before things get as bad as the post-apocalyptic setting of The Last of Us. Marvelous verdict. And with that, we have explored the Cordyceps infection that took the fictional world in The Last of Us by storm and its implications in the real world. While it might be an insect-infecting parasite, and we have been through enough with the COVID-19 pandemic, we must keep our fingers crossed that this fictional virus does not find a way to attack humanity. Now, if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.